Good morning. It is 6:32 a.m. on Tuesday, August 20th, 2019. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. I am paranoid about my webcam now because I definitely feel like something is adjusting its settings behind the scenes without me doing anything. And I can't tell if I'm paranoid or not, and I'm a little afraid to actually try to investigate it on the off chance that I am, in fact, crazy. Anyway, I thought that today I would talk about the show Archer a little bit, given that even though I have been a little bit behind in watching the latest season, it is now completed. So season 10 has completed, and they have announced that there will, in fact, be a season 11. Now, just in case you are not caught up yet and worried about spoilers, spoiler warning, because I kind of want to talk about, what happened at the end of this most recent season. Whoop, bumping my desk and camera. Not that I think it is like a huge spoiler, really. I don't think this is a spoiler, but it is something that potentially, if you're really sensitive to these things, you might want to know, not want to hear. So, whatever. You've been warned. So the context here, if you've never watched Archer, is that it's an animated show that for a long time was very much based in the spy genre, where you had Sterling Archer is sort of a kind of a James Bond type. That's the archetype that you could probably go with. But he worked at a spy agency that was a private, not government-connected spy agency, and it was mostly a workplace comedy sort of show where the work in question was being a super spy, right? And it's very silly. The main character is voiced by H. John Benjamin, who is the same guy who does the dad on Bob's Burgers, if you're familiar with that show. And so it's been on for a while, and for a long time, as I mentioned, it was based in that spy genre. But I think it's interesting that they may have felt after a while that they had sort of run through all of the spy stories that they were excited to tell, because they ended season 7, I think, with a nice Sunset Boulevard riff where Archer was shot and left in a coma. And then the most recent 3 seasons, 8, 9, and 10, all take place in essentially what we're led to understand are his coma dreams. So 8 was set in like a 1940s Hollywood sort of film noir style world. And then we had Danger Island, which was set in like, pulp adventure-y sort of setting. Like a little bit Casablanca, a little bit Indiana Jones, that sort of thing. And then this most recent one was, Archer 1999, but it was like very science fiction focused with a lot of Alien and Star Trek and all that sort of riffing in it. And it had the same cast playing versions of their characters, so that you still had a lot of the same basic character dynamics and chemistry, but just transplanted to these other settings. And I think that it was certainly an interesting experiment. I certainly enjoyed watching the shows, but I don't know, it did seem to be still nonetheless missing a little bit of something. I don't know. I just never quite engaged with those seasons in the same way that I had with the show prior. It felt a little bit exploratory, which I'm sure it was. And so interesting, but, maybe it's hard to know, because on the one hand, would it have been better to just try to continue to do the spy stories if they were not actually finding new sort of material to work with in there? Maybe not. But in any event, at the end of the most recent season, Archer wakes up. He's told he's been in a coma for 3 years. And so the announcement now is that, yes, there is going to be another season, and he is now out of the coma. So presumably we're going back to the spy stories. And that'll be interesting because, of course, that's kind of their solution to, you know, maybe if they were having some frustrations in terms of figuring out where the story should go, this gives them a little bit of boost of drama to work with, in the sense that what's been going on for the last 3 years. Now, the thing is, of course, not that I think they shouldn't have done seasons 8, 9, and 10, but it's also like you didn't have to do that. You could have, just had a time jump, right? Theoretically, if someone watched the end of season 7 and then watched the start of season 11 and were told, oh, he was in coma for 3 years, like, theoretically, you didn't actually miss anything from those 3 seasons worth of coma dream. You know, they're fun to watch, but from a plot story perspective, they're kind of like the definition of filler. And I think that's maybe why they felt, you know what? I think that is why I maybe didn't engage with them as much, because it was certainly as entertaining to watch kind of scene by scene in the moment, but there wasn't that feeling of stakes because it was definitively in a dream. And we suspected, especially after that first one, that it's kind of like, oh, it's just like there's no consequences or anything beyond this season. Self-contained. And well, see, that's the thing, is that Archer does experience character growth in the actual original series. He it's slow. He's not a quick changing character, but there is actual character growth over the course of his real experiences. But of course that can't happen in these coma dream seasons because it's not real. And so that's, I think, part of maybe why I'm excited to have it go back to things that are real, just because comedy and drama are so linked. Because, I observed this the other day on Twitter, that it's like a story that has made me laugh is going to have a leg up when it comes to trying to make me cry. And by the same token, in the flip side, you are more engaged with a comedy if you do actually care about the characters in some way. Yeah, so anyway, I've got to go ahead and finish getting ready for work, but I'm excited. I have enjoyed these last 3 seasons of Archer, but I'm definitely looking forward to it getting back to real. All right, anyway, talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.